Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Collecting Vintage Unopened podcast. My name is Brandon Stewart. This is a podcast devoted to discussing anything and everything in regards to the collecting of vintage unopened sports and non-sports cards. And today I have a very special guest and a really interesting topic that we're going to discuss. Jason Mandler is here to discuss a case of fraudulent packs that he purchased many years ago. So Jason, thanks for coming on the podcast. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Brandon. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So to provide some a starting point for the conversation, you bought thousands of dollars worth of very rare vintage unopened packs from a man named Darren Prince, whose company was the Prince of Cards. Yes,
that's correct. This was early 90s, basically 92 to 93.
Okay. And what were sure.
The most of my pack collection at the time came from Darren. I grew up in New Jersey. He wasn't too far. He seemed like he was an authority on the business at that time. That was when there wasn't PSA, there wasn't authentication. He had what I thought was a reputable name advertised in SCD, big relationships with, Mr. Mint and Christie's, and I thought it was the place to go. So that's where basically I started my pack collection. I got out of it, in about the 94, 95. Kind of stopped collecting, let the cards sit in the safety deposit box. And like a lot of people during COVID, started rethinking about them. Mm-hmm. Never really thought about selling them. And that's when I, took them out of the safety deposit box and kind of searched around a little bit and found that I thought some of them were quite rare. Researched a little further, used the Vintage Unopened Wax Facebook group and posted a couple pictures. Make a long story short, I wound up being recommended to Calvin at REA to talk to him about these packs. Growing up in New Jersey, I was familiar with that operation. In fact, I still have some family members that live in the same town as REA in Chester, New Jersey. So I kind of did a road trip, stayed at my sister's house, and woke up the next morning and met Calvin at the office and showed him what I had.
And what did Calvin have to say when you brought in all these packs? I bet he was astonished based on some of what we talked about.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of looked at me and said, "Do you realize what you have?" And I said, "Yeah, I got a bunch of unopened packs." And he kind of had said how rare some of these packs were. He hadn't seen some of them before, and not to jump to conclusions, but if these turned out to be legit, there would be some pretty fierce bidding on some of these packs.
What were some of the packs that he had never seen before?
So, well, I did have a couple that were authenticated fine. Okay, mm-hmm. I did have that were not purchased from Darren. So I did have a 54 and a 55 Bowman that were PSA graded, mm-hmm. and a 55 Tops that were PSA graded. So all wasn't lost, but I sent in those 3 packs along with another 6 or 7 packs to PSA, and the 3 that were not from Prince of Cards got graded authentic. The others came back altered, not gradable.
Okay.
I do have a bunch of them here, if I can show you.
Absolutely, yes, we'd love to see.
I got this is a 1954 penny pack.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
And those come back with, see that?
Oh, okay. Okay. With the altered.
Okay,
Okay.
so
From
they don't
PSA.
sleeve them. They just say it's altered.
Sure.
This is no particular order. This is a 52 Bowman nickel pack.
Wow.
Okay, these are just the way I got them from Darren. Sorry, I got a
Sure.
little piece of paper on the back of that one.
Sure.
This is a 53 penny pack.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And I was aware that, Steve, it was hard on the penny packs
Sure.
to pass, and a couple people I had spoken with, that they don't pass very often. So I was a little hesitant about those, but the nickel packs I thought would be fine. And again, I wasn't a collector all of these years. I stopped collecting, put them in a safety deposit box. In fact, over the years, I had only sold one pack when I started the unopened pack collection, and I bought a 1960s cello pack with Mickey Mantle on it, and held on to it for 4 or 5 years. And I had never done any business with Mr. Mint, and he was prominent and big at the time. And I was like, you know what? Let me put it in one of his auctions.
Sure.
And I kind of wish I hadn't put it in one of his auctions. I made a couple $100 on it, but not compared to what it would be worth now.
Sure.
This is a 56 Tops penny pack.
Oh, wow.
You know, again, they all have the same altered back from PSA.
Sure.
This is one of the super rare ones that Calvin hadn't seen. This is, take the little sticker off. It's the 1949 Bowman nickel pack.
Wow.
Can't really see anything on the back on it. It's just got a little sheet of paper on it. Couple more. It's a 58 penny pack.
Wow. That's crazy. So these are all bought from the Prince of Cards. This guy had
Oh,
all
excuse
of
me?
these. All of these were bought from Darren Prince, who's
These are
company
all
is Prince of
Darren in
Cards.
a time frame between 92 to 93.
Wow.
And I have a bunch of his ads that he was, you know, posting
Sure.
on in auctions, and which ones I won from. This one, I'm not going to take it out of the pack, but
Sure.
it was apparently bought in an auction from Darren earlier, and I bought it from someone who claimed that it had come from them. This is a 1940 play ball 1 cent pack, which
Oh my gosh.
I knew was pretty rare at the time, and over the years I had never seen another one come up. I've seen a couple wrappers for sale, and so I was kind of excited going to REA with these packs that had never been seen before. Now, I did have some success with some others. I did have some tray packs from 78 and 79, and some wax boxes that were legit, and you know, we brought to Calvin for those as well. But when I got the packs back, you know, and I guess Steve was familiar with it, he had said, "Are these packs from Darren?" Or had said something to that effect, because it had shown, I guess what was consistent with a pack that had been altered or rewrapped by Darren.
Wow. So he just knew, or it looked like Darren's work. And
It had looked like Darren's work.
Wow. Wow.
Now, I hadn't talked to Steve specifically about any of this. I was, you know, dealing with REA.
Sure.
But I know, you know, Steve's the man. He's the authority.
Yeah.
You got to have his blessing. So again, when I was purchasing these packs, it wasn't some random person. This was someone who was on the cover of SCD. Sorry for
Oh.
the crumpled. It's a 30-year-old.
Oh no! Wow. So that's Darren Prince with Mr. Mint.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he's auctioning off a 33 Goody pack at Christie's, apparently.
Wow.
Excuse me. This is an article from 1993 on him, about the Prince of Cards and how he built his business and his finds and whatnot.
Wow.
He put out a couple of, I know the Mark Murphy book is more popular,
Mm-hmm.
The Unopened Guide, which is this, which who knew would be kind of a collector's thing.
Sure.
So I've had this one for a while, and I haven't seen these floating around. A couple people joked about it on the Facebook post that you got one free if you spent over whatever it was, $50 or $100.
Mm-hmm.
He put out this little price guide.
Wow.
There was a first edition, a second edition. I only have the first and third.
Wow. So the guy that was selling all these resealed packs was put also an authority on how much these types of items are worth. Or at least he presented himself as an authority on how much these are worth.
He tries to be all, I'm an authority. Here we are. I'll buy, sell. So I guess at the time, I did spend a lot of money, and I had shifted my collecting patterns back in the day. I grew up, as a teenager in the 80s, and did little small shows, buying and flipping, 83 to 87 cards. And then when I went away to college, I started collecting the unopened packs to take a change of direction.
Sure. Well, I mean, this unfortunate situation with these packs and this individual, withstanding, and it's a really, really sounds like a very pernicious case of fraud. Once you posted in the Facebook group about this, others started to share their stories about how they had also bought items from this gentleman that did not pass authentication. And so that's why I wanted to have you on, is because this is such an interesting and unfortunate case. But the fact that you had the foresight to that long ago, to maybe there's something to this unopened, that's pretty remarkable, because nobody, very few people were, really felt that unopened was going to be what it is today, right? I mean, some of those packs you've shown, if they were legitimate packs, I mean, a 54 tops penny pack, the play ball pack, I mean,
right.
This is mind-blowing stuff. So kudos to you because when you first shared your story, I was astonished to hear about some of the items, because I've never even seen a wrapper for 1940 play ball.
Right. So a lot of those super, super rare.
Yeah.
I mean, it was definitely disappointing to find out that not just one of those packs was not legit.
Sure.
All of them. I was, maybe one of the penny packs, I hear if the gum breaks, they're not going to, Steve might not authenticate it, but all of them. I also, even at the time, the last purchase I made from him was 2 1978 wax boxes from Topps. And I sent those in too, and those came back as no good. So I bought those in 93. And those came back no good. All the stuff was stored basically in the same spot. It wasn't mishandling. It wasn't sunlight. The fact that, 3 of the packs, you don't see too many 55 Topps packs floating around. And that one was authenticated and stored with all of the other, packs in the same condition, and bought within 12 months of the other packs that I just showed.
Wow, that's I would be interested to hear if he was actually the person doing the resealing, or if he had an individual that he was buying these packs from. I wish we could know more of this backstory, because it may not have even have been him. He could have just been buying them and then, buying them from someone else who was doing the resealing. It's so interesting. And maybe a follow up to this episode would be maybe I might try to contact him and see if he'd be willing to shed some light on this. I don't know if this individual would be willing to, but I don't know. So what do you do? So what are you going to do with these packs now? What are your plans for? Are you just going to keep them as artifacts? Or
yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was kind of weird selling them because it wasn't, I'd had them so long.
Sure.
And initially when I talked to Calvin, I was like, before we got them graded, I said, I may want to save one or two of the packs, the first ones that I bought just kind of as a memory. But those were the ones that got approved, the 54 and 55 Bowman packs. But, Darren was advertising weekly in Sports Collector's Digest, which was the place to advertise. He had all of these, auctions that he was, claiming all of these rare items and whatnot. And a couple of the others that I had posted, some people had commented, those rack packs were fraudulent back then. The collation isn't proper. I guess, crazy that I guess fraud's been happening for forever.
Sure.
That was such a niche even back then. Hard to believe that stuff was from, one of the experts in the industry that, I want to say, I'm not sure if he did the packs or not, but one would think if his inventory was that big, then it must have been, probably,
yes.
probably knew what was going on.
Well, and especially if Steve is identifying a consistent manner in which these have been resealed, right? And the fact that he was able to say this must be Darren's work, right? To me, that's very interesting because that shows that it was probably all one individual doing it, whether it was Darren or not.
Right.
He was either getting them from someone who had a method to resealing, or he was the one doing it, and
and the packs all went together in one lot. So everything went together. It wasn't,
sure.
Calvin didn't know that, these packs had come from Prince. And when I submitted them, it wasn't, look at these separately. So some people had advised, back then you still may get some, gem mint cards in there from, cards back in the 50s. It may be worth it and sell the wrappers. I've had a little bit of interest on people, interested in the wrappers. Again, I've been out of the business for 30 years. Unfortunately, I guess if I had stuck to it, if I bought from him, I'd be in a worse place, but maybe I would have picked up some others from some other legit dealers. And he's still, he's still active as a sports agent. This individual, and he's, all over the internet and got high profile contacts. I did try and contact him through email and a website, but never really got on the phone. I mean, it's 30 years later. It is a little bit embarrassing, I guess, on his part if, there's more people who were burned by him and he's claiming different things on his social media and whatnot.
Sure. Yeah, no, I mean, that's bad. That's as bad a PR as you could have if you're trying to, whatever he's doing with his career. Now I guess he's an agent. He's a sports agent, you said? He's
a sports agent. Yep.
Oh, that's crazy, man. This story, this is kind of like a novel. I almost feel like I'm reading the book about the Hannes Wagner trimming the card. This is just crazy to me.
Yeah. In one of the articles, he does say he traded that one, and some of the stuff must have been legit, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But if you're dabbling in some legit and some not legit, or over the years it just grows to more non-legit, which I guess was the was the case.
Yeah.
So had I known if there was other experts back then, you know, you would take them and have them PSA and have them looked at before you purchase it.
Absolutely.
Lesson
yeah.
learned the hard way, I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, it goes to show in that part of the hobby, that era in the 90s, it was really the Wild West for unopened. I mean,
Yep.
and we didn't know anything about collation. Do you happen to have that ad that you shared on Facebook that shows the packs that are for sale?
Yep.
It shows the cello packs. If you could hold that up, this will be instructive for people, because given what we know about collation now, we can identify, okay, this pack is right. So there's this ad, and then can you show the cellos on the bottom? We see it's George, a 75 a top cello with George Brett's rookie on top. We know now that's not possible, right? We see a 75 with Yount on top. We know from a collation standpoint that's not possible, right?
Okay.
So now we know that, but back
Sure.
then you could just advertise and nobody, so I'm glad now. The positive part of this, right, is I do think now it's much harder to get this type of crap through, and,
Right.
and on the market. And if a pack isn't graded now, there's no way a high quality pack, there's no way that it's going to be taken by one of these auction houses, or you're not going to be able to push it out on the market in
Right.
such a fashion. So I think that's at least now we know so much more than we did, but I don't know. But was there anything else that you wanted to share about your experience, or are you still, you said you're out of the hobby. Do you have any interest in getting back
Yeah,
into
I mean,
the
I
hobby?
still look, but now it's the things that I'd like to purchase that would bring back memories from when I was collecting in the 90s are
Sure.
Out of the budget range.
Sure.
Let's put it that way. I got to figure out a way. A number of years ago, my wife's like, we got to clean out stuff, and I guess trying to get rid of the junk wax from 86, 87, 88, the boxes and boxes of cards like a lot of us still have.
Mm-hmm.
Me clearing out 10 packs to sell in an auction or a couple of boxes didn't clear out much space. So
Sure.
I gotta figure out a way to get rid of 87 commons, right?
Sure. Yeah, that's
So yeah, I mean, I still think it's a great hobby. I wish I had kept up with it. I thought I was onto something back then. I did have a couple of rare things. In hindsight, it's really weird. I'm more of a basketball fan than a baseball fan, but like a lot of us, I didn't collect basketball in the 80s. I wish I had.
Sure.
Seeing the way those Jordan cards and the 80 tops are. But yeah, I guess lesson learned the hard way, unfortunately.
Sure. Well, Jason, thank you so much for coming on and sharing.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. Let me share a little bit, and hopefully not too many other people were burned, and if they were, they've gotten rid of them before it was too late, I guess.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and if anyone that is watching this on YouTube and would like to share an experience, if you've experienced something like this, or if you've had experiences with the Prince of Cards, feel free to comment and share your story. I'd love to have that conversation. Well, that is what I have for you guys today. Thanks again, Jason. I really, really appreciate it. Until next time, keep collecting vintage unopened baseball.
Thanks, Brandon.
Take care of each other, everybody.
Thanks.